I've done many real estate deals throughout the years using various strategies, and I've also helped many people find and buy investment properties. Today I'm going to give you all the things I look for when I evaluate a deal. What's up, guys? My name is Darrell.essex with eXp Realty, and my passion is to help people find and buy investment properties. Today we're going to take a look at one of the properties that I went through, and we're going to take a look at all the different things that I go through, my process. I'm going to go through the videos that I take and then go through all the goods, the bads, figure out the numbers, and we'll see if this is a good investment or not. So let's dive in. So this property I went to about a week ago, took a look at it. This property was boarded up to the point where I literally had to take a drill and take the boards off of the door just to access the property. It's probably been vacant for at least a year. This person who bought it actually had bought it through a tax sale, and now he's trying to flip it for a quick profit. So just looking through the property, it was not too bad. This is a pretty decent property, but again, it's been vacant for so long that now you got paint coming off the walls. The smell in there is terrible, but they say the worse the house smells, the better the deal. And at the end of the day, what we're looking for is a good deal. Now, this property would be a perfect property for somebody who's got enough cash to purchase the property and go ahead and put the money into the property, then maybe sell it, flip it, or refinance it and rent it. So let's take a look at this property. So I run through this because it has no electricity, so you'll see my flashlight a lot through this thing. So let's look here first. First, we see that this has a wooden windows. Not the wood here, but the actual windows themselves are wood, so that probably puts these windows at about 50 years old. Not a good thing. So we're probably going to need to change the windows. This house, I believe, had about 10 windows, and 10 windows at about $500 a piece. That's $5,000 right there. So let's go ahead and take a little bit more look at it. So here's something you need to look at. This is not the actual ceiling. This is what they have in not apartments, but in office buildings. Behind here is space and the real ceiling. So why is it that they have this? That's the question of the day. I'm not exactly tall enough to go ahead and push those out the way, so we're gonna have to just say, it is what it is. Oh, but by the way, if you're gonna replace that, you're gonna have to, well, one, see if the actual ceiling's any good. If it's not, you're gonna have to go ahead and probably put for that house, what is it? 1, 2, 3, 6, probably about 10,000, give or take, for labor, materials, and everything to put a brand new ceiling on there. So okay, now next thing we're gonna look at is what is going on here. Most likely there's something wrong up here, whether it be behind that ceiling or not, we don't know. And then also, the carpet's gonna have to go. I don't remember if we looked at that later underneath a little piece of carpet or not to see if there was subfloor or to see if there's actually hardwood, because a lot of times people will put carpet over their hardwood. But to replace the carpet itself would probably be, for this space, give or take another $5,000, give or take, with labor and materials. So let's go ahead and keep it cruising. Nothing really wrong here. You're probably going to want to put a new door because that's just an ugly door. So add another 300. So we're already at 5, 10, 13, 300, give or take. And again, yeah, look at that. It's bowing here, so not good. So the trims, baseboards, and things like that don't look terrible. You can salvage those. You can repaint those if you don't want the natural wood color. All up to you what you want to do with it. So this room looks pretty solid. That is a thermostat for heat that's not on. This here looks like it probably had a smoke detector, so that's not nothing crazy. And as you see, what I do is when I go through these houses, I look for water damage up here to see if you see water damage up there, patching, things like that. That means there's been roof problems. Now, we don't know when the roof was probably had a problem. If it's still possible that you could see the water damage, then obviously it was recent. If you don't see the water damage, but you see patching, most likely it might have been fixed, or maybe it wasn't fixed. But also when you see that patching, a lot of times it was done by somebody who doesn't know what they're doing, didn't sand it, get it nice and smooth, and then repaint it. So let's see, this fan could use some updating, but not necessary if you're going to rent it. If you're going to flip it, you're definitely going to want to change that. So that's probably another $300 there. So we're at $13,600. We already discussed windows. Let's see here. So here, this room does not look bad. That's just filth on the walls. Happens with older places. It's like, oh, let's see if we can back up just a touch, just a hair. No more. Right there. So this crack here is most likely because it's cold. And also these walls are plaster, not drywall. So you could, in theory, take a super thin piece of drywall, put it over it, or you can go ahead and tear it out and put the normal size drywall on there. Up to you. Again, if you do the thin one, it's gonna look good. Is it the right thing to do? Probably not. But on the bright side, you'll have a little bit extra space, which would help heat. Does help heat when you do it that way. Again, the baseboards look good. That's an easy fix to change that out. A lot of times you'll see water damage in the closets. Don't see any here. Again, we just have to switch out the carpet in there. So here we have the plumbing that goes into the bathtub and the shower itself. Copper plumbing, good, means it's been recently updated to a degree. I mean, this could be done in the 80s, 90s, or whatever, but at least it's not galvanized plumbing to where you're gonna have major issues and you'll probably have enough rust inside those pipes to barely have any water flow. So just having the copper is a definite plus. And the plumbing is not torn out of this place, so that's another plus. Slap an access panel on there and you're all good. Now we look in here. Let's get a clearer, whatever. But anyway, tiles, probably gonna need to change those out and put some new ones, clean it all up. The tub definitely needs to be replaced because it's just gross. And I went in there and out too quick. So let's get back in there. Vanity, you could probably clean this up. This sink and pedestal, you could probably clean this up, change out the faucet. If not, that's probably about $100 at Home Depot, so it's not that big a deal. The toilet, another thing, is just another $100. You don't have to get the super great flushing toilet that's like $300 or $400. You can get the $100 one. It's no big deal. Tub also probably about another $1,000 to replace that. But to tile this, well, you probably wouldn't want to. You would definitely pull all this off. Use drywall here with the green board. And then go ahead and tile from here on and then around. Maybe throw some backsplash with the little tiny guys in there just to make it look pretty. Switch out the floor. So typically to redo this bathroom, it would be about $5,000. So we are looking at roughly $18,000 at this point. So let's see, we got another bedroom over here. This room looks decent. This looks like this is like a vent, not a vent, but something with the heating ducts. It could be the part of the return, or it could be the actual heat that comes out of here. Again, nothing too terrible with the walls, but we have a peek at the ceiling. So it looks like it's just plaster. I don't know why they did the extra ceiling, but it is what it is. And then you got an electric wire here going through here. I don't know why they didn't put that through the wall. Not a big deal, but you could do that on the rehab. Not gonna make or break your bank. The doors in the house, not too shabby. A lot of people like to keep the original doors, and you know, if that's what you like to do, that's what you like to do. If you want to put brand new ones, a door of that type would be about $150 to keep it basic. I mean, you can get the super expensive ones, but again, there's no real reason. So in here, we're gonna need all new cabinets, appliances, countertops, because the countertops are the particle board with the laminate on top. Probably a new sink. But again, we have plumbing in here. That plumbing looks galvanized, so this might be an issue. You might want to change out that plumbing. Change out that plumbing all the way and fix it. It would probably be about $5,000 again. So now we're at 23, and then to change out all the cabinets and the the countertops, you don't have to do. You could keep it with the plywood, with the well, not plywood, but the particle board with the laminate, and just get it nice. Or you can go the little more expensive route and get a solid surface, but you would look in between $7,000 to $10,000 depending on the type of countertop you want to do. So we'll throw another. We'll say we're gonna do it the good way and do the 10,000. Plus your appliances would be about 3,000, so 13. So we're at 28, 31, about 31,000 in repair so far. You could change out this floor just to modernize it, because I mean that looks old and crappy. And if you fixed everything else in the house, you might as well at least make this floor newer looking. I mean, why have the outside that goes to the basement look like junk when the rest of the house is beautiful? So to do that little bit would probably be like $1,500 on the high end, because it's not that much space. Most of that's going to labor. So and then again, you're gonna replace these windows. You might want to replace these walls, because no one's doing wood walls anymore. Hopefully you could just pull this off and sand it, but if you had to put some drywall in there, you're probably looking at, again, mostly goes towards labor, looking at about $2,000. Definitely need to fix that, because you're not going to pass any inspections with all these I forget the name of them, but the little bars that go in between here. This is typical for a basement. You don't have to do much. Now we have some issues. We got all types of water going on down here. So that means you're getting seepage. So now you're calling the waterproofing guys. Electric panel looks good. It's got breakers instead of fuses, so that's always a plus. I mean, you can clean all this up. That's not the biggest deal in the world. You're probably going to want to get it to where it's nice and straight everywhere up top, but they could probably use the same wires. You just have to funnel it through some new conduit. Again, the water, not a great thing going on here. That's probably going to cost you $15, just to get all that waterproof and stop all that seepage that's coming in. Let's see if we can see the year on the water heater. If it's not there, I might have the actual picture, because I did take pictures as well. Probably just sitting here trying to find it on here. Every manufacturer has their date in a different place. So the heater, probably gonna have to replace that. That's gonna be about about 3,000. Materials and everything, material and labor. Metered water, so you're gonna pay for what you use. Sometimes that's a good thing, sometimes it's not. Excuse my dog in the background. Somebody must have walked by with a dog. So here we have what looks like a pit. What is it called? An ejector pit. I doubt they have a drain tile system with a sump pump, because obviously you see all the water, unless it's because this isn't turned on. But still, if it did, that would indicate that the trenches for it are clogged, which again is a problem. So pretty much that is this house. So being this house is where it is, roughly with it being a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, this house probably would be worth about $170,000 fixed up. So the person's asking for $55,000 for the house. So 55, and then we figured that it was needed about, what did we say about with the thing? About, let's just call it 60,000. So now you're at about $115,000. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take a look at, and I'm gonna do it on my phone real quick and just show you guys what it is. So we have $175,000. If you're financing this, they will not cover that whole, because you got $55,000 that you're buying it. They're not going to give you more than the 55 to fix it. So that would make you at 110,000. They may still not fund that, because you're going to have to do, 85% of the total project cost. So that may not quite give it to you, because you're going to need to borrow at least $100,000. So if that's the case, not a good deal already. Even though, if you're a cash buyer, it still might be great. So let's go into if you're a cash buyer, because this won't really work for somebody that is going to have to finance it. So a cash buyer is going to want to look at 70% of the after repair value, and that's because that's going to be give or take what they may give you. You might be able to get 75, you might be able to get 80, but a good rule of thumb is go with 70, because that's the lowest for the most part that you're going to find. So 70% of their refinance, so they would refinance you back at 122.5 minus the 115. This would be a solid deal. You would probably break even if you're going to sell it, or if you're going to do a BRRRR, put a renter in there, because you got $7,500 left over. But that $7,500 is probably going to either go to closing costs, or it's going to go towards closing costs on your loan on a refinance, or closing costs on a purchase where you're going to have to, pay the taxes and whatever other credits you're going to have to pay, plus all the little fees and whatnot. So either way, you'll break even. If you're going to buy it and flip it, you would get your extra 30% in profit. If you're going to buy it and rent it, you will break even. You will probably get a house basically for free. All it cost you was the work to actually put it together. And you would probably cash flow. Let me see what that is. And what I use to do my rental estimates is I use Rentometer. I'll link down below a link so that you can get it. It costs about $60 a year. Well worth it when you're running a lot of numbers, trying to get the best deals, and you want to make sure that you're getting your most amount of rent for your property. A lot of people don't use it, and that's why you see a lot of people selling their homes that they rent, because they don't realize that they could be charging like $700-800 more a month. And it's like, well, if you would just keep your rents at market value, you'd be killing it. But if you just keep the same tenants and you never raise the rent, after time goes by, you can't just start saying, okay, you know what? I've given you a break for so long. I'm going to have to raise your rent $700. They're going to look at you crazy. But if over time you raise it $50 here, $100 there, they're going to get used to it. But if you do it all at once, you're shooting yourself in the foot. So anyway, let's see. So this one would rent for a 2-bedroom, 1-bath on average, and you're going to have it on the high end because you just fixed it up real nice. So you're looking at about $1,900 a month. $1,900 a month on a, what do we say, 175, bringing it to 120. You're looking at about $1,200 a month. So 1,200, 19. So you're looking at about $700 of gross cash flow, because you still have to put money away for a rainy day, or you're gonna have to put money away for, in case anything breaks. I like to make the tenants do the lawn and the shoveling, because if they're living in a house, you want to live in a house, you have to treat it like you live in a house and take care of your stuff. If you lived in an apartment building, whatever, it's like living in a condo and associations, you take care of that separate. But if you live in a house, dude, you live in a house, mow your lawn. You live in a house, shovel your snow, rake your leaves. That's just how I see it. But anyway, this property gets you, give or take, probably about $300 a month in cash flow. If that's happy for you, that's a great deal. If you're looking for more like a 500 or more, not a great deal. Me personally, I do at least 500 or better, but that's me. So with that being said, hopefully you guys took something out of this video. I'm going to leave all the information down below so that you can help you run your numbers a little bit better. And with that being said, I'll see you on the next one.